Most people chase success, but the truth is success chases those who live their days with purpose.
You don't need a perfect plan for the next 10 years. You need the right 5 things to do today.
Why do some people rise consistently while others stay stuck? The answer is hidden in their daily habits. When we think about success, many of us picture habits, morning routines and strict schedules. The world is flooded with advice, telling us to wake up at 5 a.m., to exercise before breakfast, to write down affirmations, or to meditate for 15 minutes. And while these practices may be helpful, the danger is in mistaking routine for purpose. A routine is simply a set of actions. Intention, on the other hand, is the reason behind those actions. The two are not the same. Without intention, even the most disciplined routine becomes an empty ritual. You can check off boxes, follow the script, and still feel like you are drifting without direction.
Starting with intention means beginning your day by asking the deeper question, why does today matter? Not in the vague motivational sense, but in the very real practical sense of what you are living for. Success is not built from isolated tasks. It is built when every task aligns with a greater purpose. When you start with intention, you are not just trying to fill your schedule. You are trying to design your day in a way that reflects your values and leads you closer to the life you want to build. Imagine 2 people who wake up at the same time. One immediately checks their phone, responds to emails, scrolls through messages, and lets the outside world dictate their priorities. The other pauses for a moment of clarity. They ask, what do I want from today? What is the one thing I can do that, if completed, will make the day meaningful? Both of them will work. Both of them will stay busy, but only one will end the day with a sense of progress that actually matters. The difference is not in how many tasks they did. The difference is in the intention behind those tasks. When you start your day with intention, you create a filter for decision-making. Every opportunity, every request, every distraction can be measured against the question, does this move me closer to where I want to be? Or further away? That simple filter saves you from wasting hours on work that looks productive but produces nothing of lasting value. We live in a time where productivity is worshipped, but productivity without intention is just motion. Success is not about moving fast, it's about moving in the right direction. Intention also builds resilience. Routines can be disrupted. Travel, illness, unexpected events, even a change in schedule can throw off the strictest morning rituals. But intention cannot be disrupted because it lives inside of you. If you know why you are doing what you are doing, you can adapt. A person with intention can lose their routine and still stay on course, while a person who relies only on routine will collapse the moment life throws them a curveball. Intention is the anchor, routine is just a structure.
Think about the difference between someone who exercises every morning simply because it's part of the routine versus someone who exercises every morning because their intention is to have the energy to play with their kids, to stay healthy for decades to come, and to sharpen their mind for meaningful work. Both people may look the same at the gym, but the one with intention is far more likely to continue to adapt when obstacles come and to draw strength from the deeper reason behind their actions. This is why some people burn out chasing routines while others thrive for a lifetime fueled by purpose.
There is also a powerful psychological shift that happens when you start your day with intention. Most people wake up reacting. They allow the world to tell them what is urgent, what is important, what deserves their attention. When you set intention first, you take ownership of your time. You are no longer reactive. You are proactive. You do not simply answer to the demands of the world. You design your response to the world. That sense of ownership is what creates the confidence and clarity that so many people seek. Intention is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. You could spend an entire day running from meeting to meeting, answering dozens of emails, checking off 100 small tasks, and still go to bed feeling unfulfilled. Or you could spend a day focusing on one meaningful project, one important relationship, one deep piece of learning, and go to bed feeling that the day was worth living. That difference is the power of intention. To live with intention requires honesty. You have to confront what actually matters to you, not what looks impressive to others. Too many people design their routines around what they think will earn approval, likes, or recognition. They want to appear successful rather than be successful, but intention asks you to look inward. It asks, what kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to build? What impact do I want to leave? These are not easy questions, but they are the only ones that truly matter. Without them, Routines are hollow. With them, every action becomes meaningful, even the small and ordinary ones. And here's the truth. Intention doesn't require perfection. You don't have to live every single day flawlessly aligned with your purpose. What matters is direction, not perfection. If your intention is clear, even on days when you fall short, you know where you are heading. That clarity keeps you from drifting aimlessly, and it turns even mistakes and failures into part of the journey. Starting with intention is not about adding something new to your day. It's about changing the foundation of your day. It's about waking up and refusing to let the world decide what matters for you. It's about choosing deliberately how you will invest your time, energy, and attention. Because the truth is, your days add up to your life. And if your days are lived without intention, your life will be lived without direction. Every day, we are pulled into a battle between the urgent and the important. The emails, the notifications, the deadlines, the endless list of things to do, they all shout for our attention, demanding that we act immediately. And often we give in. We spend hours responding, reacting, and putting out fires, only to look back at the end of the day and realize that very little of it actually mattered in the long run. Success, however, does not come from doing more of what is urgent. It comes from prioritizing what creates long-term value. The problem is that busyness is seductive. It feels productive. Checking off a to-do list gives us the illusion of progress. But not all progress is equal. Some activities move us forward in a lasting way, while others simply keep us running in circles. The difference between those who build extraordinary success and those who remain stuck in the same place is not how hard they work, but how deliberately they choose what to work on. The most successful people are not the busiest, they are the most focused on value that compounds over time. Consider the difference between spending an hour scrolling through messages versus spending an hour building a skill. The first fills the moment, but leaves nothing behind. The second plants a seed that continues to grow, shaping your future opportunities and possibilities. Long-term value is built in relationships, in learning, in health, and in meaningful work. These are the areas that do not always scream for your attention today, but silently determine who you will become tomorrow. Relationships are a clear example. Answering every email or social media comment might feel urgent, but investing in a meaningful conversation with a mentor, a colleague, or a loved one creates bonds that can last for decades. Success is never built in isolation. The people you choose to nurture today will be the very same people who support you, challenge you, and open doors for you in the future. Prioritizing relationships may not give you the instant satisfaction of clearing your inbox, but it is one of the greatest sources of long-term value you can create. The same is true for learning. Reading a book, reflecting on your experiences, or taking time to study something new may not show immediate results. In fact, it often feels slower than just reacting to tasks. But knowledge compounds. One new idea today might completely change how you approach problems tomorrow. The people who stay relevant, adaptable, and innovative are those who consistently invest in their growth, even when it feels like they don't have time. The irony is that those who claim they are too busy to learn are often the ones who stay stuck, while those who make time to learn eventually find themselves ahead. Health is another area where prioritization matters. Skipping sleep, neglecting exercise, or relying on quick meals might not show their cost immediately. You can power through for a few weeks or even years, but eventually the bill comes due. Energy, focus, and longevity are all tied to how well you treat your body today. Success becomes unsustainable when your health is ignored. By prioritizing exercise, nutrition, and rest, you are not just taking care of yourself in the present, you are ensuring that you will have the strength to pursue your ambitions for decades to come. Then there is the work itself. Not all work is equal. Some tasks simply maintain the system while others create something new, something lasting. Filling out reports, sitting in meetings, or responding to small requests may keep the engine running. But building a project, writing something that lasts, or solving a significant problem creates value that outlives the day. The people who achieve inevitable success are the ones who consistently carve out time for the work that matters most, even when the urgent distractions threaten to consume everything. Prioritizing long-term value requires a shift in mindset. It is choosing to measure success not by how much you did today, but by whether what you did today will still matter tomorrow. It is asking, will this action create results that compound, or will it simply fade once the day is over? This question forces clarity. It separates the essential from the trivial. It exposes the difference between activity and impact.
This way of thinking also demands courage. It is easier to stay busy than to stay focused. Busyness keeps us safe from reflection because it convinces us we are doing enough. But deep down, we know that not all of our effort is meaningful. To prioritize long-term value means saying no to distractions even when they are disguised as opportunities. It means having the discipline to decline tasks that look urgent but add little to your future. It means accepting that you cannot do everything, but you can do what matters most.
The truth is that long-term value is rarely urgent. It whispers instead of shouting. It waits for your attention but does not demand it. That is why so many people overlook it. They choose the noise of the urgent over the quiet significance of the important. And then years later, they wonder why all their effort never translated into lasting results. Success is not about reacting to every demand. It is about deliberately building what endures. When you begin to prioritize what creates long-term value, you stop living from deadline to deadline and start building a life that compounds in meaning and impact. Each day becomes more than a cycle of tasks. It becomes a brick laid in the foundation of something greater. And while the results may not always be visible immediately, over time the difference becomes undeniable.
One of the greatest misconceptions about success is that it comes only from action. Doing more, working harder, moving faster. While effort and execution matter, there is another dimension that separates those who plateau from those who continue to grow: the habit of learning and reflecting. Success is not just the result of what we do, it is shaped by how we think about what we do. The world is constantly changing, challenges evolve, opportunities shift, and those who fail to keep learning quickly become irrelevant. But those who commit to learning every single day and who take the time to reflect on their experiences create an unstoppable momentum that compounds over time.
Learning is not something that ends after school or formal education. It is a lifelong commitment to curiosity. Every new skill, every new perspective, every new lesson becomes another tool in your arsenal for facing the unknown. In a world where information doubles at a staggering pace, standing still means falling behind. That is why the most successful people never see themselves as experts who have it all figured out. They see themselves as students, constantly asking better questions, constantly searching for what they don't yet know. But learning on its own is not enough. Without reflection, knowledge is just information. Reflection is what transforms knowledge into wisdom. Reflection is the process of pausing, stepping back, and asking, what did I learn today? What worked? What didn't? And why? It is in reflection that we find patterns, that we recognize mistakes, that we see opportunities we missed in the rush of action. Without reflection, we repeat the same errors. With reflection, every experience becomes a stepping stone to better decisions and smarter action. Think about the difference between someone who simply repeats the same year of experience over and over and someone who extracts lessons from each year. One has 20 years of repetition. The other has 20 years of growth. The distinction is not time, but reflection. Every mistake, every failure, every setback contains valuable insight, but only for the person willing to stop and examine it. Reflection turns pain into progress, failure into feedback, and confusion into clarity. Consistent learning and reflection also build adaptability. Success in the long term is never a straight line. Plans change, industries shift, unexpected challenges appear. Those who resist change, who cling to old methods, often collapse under the weight of uncertainty. But those who treat every change as an opportunity to learn and who reflect on how best to adapt not only survive but thrive. Their flexibility is not luck, it is the result of constantly training their minds to learn and reassess. They are not attached to being right, they are committed to getting better. This mindset also protects against arrogance. Success can create a dangerous illusion, the belief that what worked yesterday will work tomorrow. Many people achieve a measure of success and then stop learning, convinced they have found the formula, but the world does not freeze in place. What once brought success may eventually bring decline if it is never questioned. The habit of learning and reflecting keeps you humble, reminding you that there is always more to understand, always room to grow, always another perspective to consider. The practice does not need to be complicated. Setting aside time each day for reading, studying, or seeking out new ideas keeps your mind expanding. Journaling or even a few minutes of thoughtful silence at the end of the day can provide space for reflection. Asking questions like, what did I do well today? Or what could I have done differently? Sharpens awareness. Over time, these small practices accumulate, shaping not just what you know, but how you see the world. The connection between learning, reflection, and decision-making is also profound. Every decision you make is influenced
by the knowledge and awareness you bring into it. The more you learn, the wider your perspective becomes. The more you reflect, the deeper your understanding grows. Together, they improve judgment. They allow you to recognize opportunities others miss, to avoid mistakes others repeat, and to act with clarity when others are uncertain.
Even the most brilliant strategies fail without learning and reflection. Strategies are built on assumptions, and assumptions are often wrong. Only those who are willing to question their assumptions, to examine results, and to adjust based on what they learn can consistently move forward. Reflection is the feedback loop of progress. Learning is the input. Reflection is the calibration. Without both, success is unsustainable. Another overlooked aspect is how learning and reflection fuel creativity. New ideas rarely come from isolation. They come from connecting old concepts in new ways, from combining what you've learned with what you've experienced, from noticing patterns others overlook. Reflection gives your mind the space to connect the dots. Learning supplies the dots to connect. Together, they create innovation. Those who dedicate themselves to learning and reflection are not just following trends, they are shaping them.
There is also a deeply personal dimension to this practice. Learning expands your possibilities, but reflection aligns them with your values. Without reflection, you may pursue knowledge for the sake of achievement, chasing after endless goals that do not actually fulfill you. Reflection asks, is this aligned with who I want to be? Does this knowledge serve my purpose, or is it just noise? It ensures that your growth is not just outward, but also inward, not just about achievement, but about becoming the kind of person you want to be.
Consistently learning and reflecting requires discipline, but it also creates freedom. When you know that you are growing each day, you stop fearing mistakes because you see them as teachers. You stop fearing uncertainty because you know you can adapt. You stop fearing the future because you trust that you will have the skills and wisdom to meet it. This confidence does not come from having all the answers. It comes from knowing that you are willing to keep learning and reflecting until you find them.
At the heart of every story of lasting success, you will find people. Not numbers, not systems, not routines, people. It is easy to get caught up in the idea that success is a solo journey, a mountain that one climbs alone through sheer willpower and determination. But the truth is, no one achieves anything significant without the influence, support, and contributions of others. The people you choose to surround yourself with, the relationships you build, and the value you create for those around you determine how far and how fast you can go. To nurture relationships and serve others is not simply a matter of kindness, it is a foundation for inevitable success.
The relationships you invest in become the bridges that connect you to opportunities you could never reach alone. A conversation with a mentor can save you years of mistakes. A friendship built on trust can turn into a partnership that changes the course of your career. A small act of service can create a ripple that extends far beyond what you can see. Success is not built in isolation, it grows in the soil of relationships. And the more you cultivate those relationships with genuine care and service, the richer that soil becomes. Serving others does not mean neglecting yourself. It does not mean saying yes to every demand or giving away all of your time. It means living with the awareness that your actions can lift others higher. It means recognizing that value multiplies when it is shared. Success becomes inevitable when you shift from asking, what can I get, to what can I give? Because in giving, you create trust, goodwill, and influence, all of which return to you in ways you cannot always predict, but can always count on. Think about the people who have left the greatest impact on your life. Chances are they are not the ones who impressed you with their achievements, but the ones who made you feel seen, valued, and supported. That is the power of service. People remember how you make them feel long after they forget what you have accomplished. By nurturing relationships and choosing to serve others, you build a legacy that extends far beyond your personal success.
There is also a practical truth to this principle. The world is built on networks. Every opportunity, every breakthrough, every open door comes through people. A job is offered by a person. A business deal is agreed upon by people. Even recognition of your work is given by people. You may be talented, hardworking, and ambitious, but if you fail to connect with others, your potential remains limited. Nurturing relationships expands your reach because it connects you to the wisdom, experience, and resources of others. Serving others also shapes your own growth. When you mentor someone, you deepen your own understanding. When you support someone, you strengthen your own resilience. When you help others succeed, you inevitably elevate yourself. It is not a transaction, it is a transformation. The act of giving sharpens your character, expands your empathy, and refines your perspective. The most fulfilled individuals are not those who have collected the most achievements, but those who have created the most impact in the lives of others.
There's another layer to consider: authenticity. Relationships cannot be treated as tools to be used for personal gain. People sense when they are being manipulated. True nurturing requires sincerity. It means listening without an agenda, showing up when it is inconvenient, offering help without expecting a return. Paradoxically, the less you chase relationships for what you can extract, the more valuable they become. Service is not a strategy. It is a way of being.
In a world that often celebrates independence, it may feel counterintuitive to focus on interdependence. But independence without connection leads to isolation, and isolation limits both fulfillment and achievement. Serving others weaves you into a community, a network of shared purpose and mutual support. That network becomes a safety net when you fall and a springboard when you rise. It amplifies your strengths and balances your weaknesses. It creates resilience because you are no longer carrying the weight alone.
Every day presents opportunities to nurture relationships and serve. A phone call to check in on someone, a note of encouragement, sharing knowledge without holding it back, celebrating someone else's achievement without comparison. These small actions compound over time, building trust and goodwill that no amount of self-promotion can buy. Success built on relationships and service is not only more sustainable, it is more meaningful. Serving others also expands your vision. When you focus only on yourself, your world becomes small. Every problem feels bigger, every setback heavier, every success hollow. But when you step outside of yourself to serve others, you gain perspective. You realize that your challenges are not the end of the world, and your achievements are part of something larger. Service gives your work a deeper purpose because it connects it to the well-being of others.
Nurturing relationships and serving others requires patience. Relationships are not built overnight. They grow through consistent attention and genuine care. Trust cannot be rushed. Service cannot be faked. But when you commit to this principle daily, the results are profound. You not only build success for yourself, you contribute to the success of others, creating a cycle of growth that benefits everyone involved. The truth is that people may forget your words. They may forget your accomplishments, but they will never forget the way you showed up for them. They will never forget the way you made them feel valued. They will never forget the times you offered help when it was needed most. And in remembering, they will carry forward your influence, opening doors, sharing opportunities, and continuing the cycle of service that you began. How we close the day matters as much as how we begin it. The way we end each day becomes the rhythm that shapes the next. Too often, people measure their day only by how much they got done, by how many tasks they managed to cross off, or by how far they pushed themselves. But success is not about quantity of output. It is about alignment with purpose. To end the day with gratitude and alignment is to step back, reflect, and recognize not only what you accomplished, but also whether it was in service of the life you want to build.
Gratitude is the anchor that keeps ambition from turning into emptiness. Ambition without gratitude becomes a restless chase, an endless cycle of more money, more recognition, more accomplishments, without ever feeling enough. Gratitude interrupts that cycle. It reminds you to notice the progress you have already made, the opportunities you already have, and the people who stand with you on the journey. It is not about ignoring what you want to achieve. It is about appreciating what you have while you pursue what's next. Ending your day with gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to fulfillment.
Gratitude also has a grounding effect. When you take time at the end of the day to acknowledge the small wins, the lessons learned, and the support you received, you create a sense of closure. You are no longer carrying the weight of unmet expectations into the night. Instead, you rest with a sense of completeness, ready to wake up with clarity and energy. Without gratitude, even your biggest achievements can feel hollow, because you fail to pause and recognize them. With gratitude, even ordinary days become meaningful because you see the value in them.
Alignment is the second key. Alignment means asking, did what I did today reflect my deeper values? Was the way I spent my time consistent with the kind of person I want to be and the kind of future I want to create? Many people are busy, but their busyness is misaligned. They spend hours chasing goals that don't belong to them, saying yes to commitments that drain them, or working on tasks that have little connection to their deeper purpose. At the end of the day, they may feel exhausted, but exhaustion is not the same as progress. Alignment ensures that your effort, your choices, and your energy are directed toward what truly matters. To end a day with alignment requires reflection. It is the practice of looking back not just at what you did, but at why you did it. Did you act with integrity? Did you make decisions out of fear or out of conviction? Did you prioritize what matters or allow distractions to take over? Reflection like this does not need to be harsh or judgmental. It is not about criticizing yourself, but about observing with honesty. Over time, this habit sharpens your awareness and strengthens your ability to live with consistency between your actions and your purpose. The combination of gratitude and alignment creates a powerful feedback loop. Gratitude ensures you remain grounded in appreciation, while alignment ensures you remain on course. Gratitude without alignment can make you content but stagnant, accepting things as they are without striving for better. Alignment without gratitude can make you driven but restless, always chasing the next milestone without ever feeling fulfilled. Together, they create balance. You end the day appreciating the present while moving intentionally toward the future. There is also a psychological power in this practice. The mind tends to replay unfinished tasks, worries and regrets when we lie down at night. By deliberately closing the day with gratitude and alignment, you quiet that noise. You create a sense of completion. You give your mind permission to rest because you know the day was not wasted. This doesn't mean every day has to be perfect or that every goal has to be achieved. It means that even on imperfect days, you find value in the effort, the lessons, and the alignment with who you are becoming. That sense of peace and clarity is what allows you to approach the next day with renewed focus. Ending the day this way also deepens relationships. Gratitude reminds you to acknowledge the people who supported you, even in small ways. A simple thank you, a message of appreciation, or a moment of recognition can strengthen bonds and build trust. Alignment ensures that your interactions with others are not transactional but authentic, consistent with your values. Over time, this builds a reputation not just for what you accomplish, but for how you live. This practice can be as simple as writing down 3 things you are grateful for and 1 way your actions aligned with your purpose. It can be a quiet reflection before sleep or a conversation with a loved one about the day. The form doesn't matter as much as the intention behind it. The goal is to end the day not in chaos or regret, but in clarity and appreciation. When practiced consistently, this becomes a habit that shapes your perspective on life itself. There is also a subtle but important impact on motivation. People who only measure their days by how much they got done often burn out, because there will always be more to do. But when you measure your days by gratitude and alignment, you discover meaning even in the small steps. You see progress not just in outcomes, but in the consistency of living true to your values. That recognition fuels motivation far more sustainably than external rewards ever could. Ending the day with gratitude and alignment also reminds you that success is not only about achievement, but about fulfillment. It is about becoming someone who is not just productive, but purposeful, not just accomplished, but content, not just busy, but balanced. Each day becomes a building block, not just for a career or reputation, but for a life that feels whole. Success is not an accident, nor is it reserved for a select few. It is the natural outcome of how we choose to live our days. When you start each morning with intention, you give direction to your energy. When you prioritize what creates long-term value, you ensure that your effort compounds into lasting impact. When you consistently learn and reflect, you transform every experience into growth and resilience. When you nurture relationships and serve others, you build a foundation of trust and support that carries you further than you could ever go alone. And when you end each day with gratitude and alignment, you ground yourself in fulfillment while staying true to your purpose. These 5 practices, lived daily, reshape the way you experience time, choices, and progress. They move success from something uncertain to something inevitable. Because success is not found in chasing everything. It is found in consistently living by the things that matter most.